my name is Melissa, and thank you for joining me today for the 7th episode of the Honeybee Knits podcast. Today is Wednesday, June 7th, 2017, and I am coming to you from Springboro, Ohio, which is about 45 minutes north of Cincinnati. You can find me on Instagram at honey_bee_knits, Ravelry as Melissa1308, and also in the Ravelry podcast group, the Honeybee Knits podcast. And also, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen a post that I posted yesterday. I am now on Etsy as well. So I'm really excited to share that news with you guys. It's something that I've been wanting to do for about 1.5 years now, ever since I started spinning and dyeing fiber. And with the new hobby that I've taken up of sewing project bags, I decided now is the time. I have been sewing like a mad woman, and it started out as a hobby when I originally started sewing, and then I just kept getting better at it, and people were asking me if I would be willing to sell my bags. And I honestly have made so many because I enjoy sewing so much that I figured, why not? So I figured now is the time to go ahead and open my Etsy shop. Right now it just has project bags, but I do plan to have fiber in it eventually because I really enjoy dyeing fiber with my acid dyes. And if you've seen my previous episodes, you know that most of the fiber that I have dyed, or most of the fiber that I've spun so far has been fiber that I previously dyed. So with that, I will go ahead and start the episode. Now, from here, after today's episode, I will keep shop talk to the end because I know not everybody is interested in that. But I figured since today I am celebrating my grand opening, I will go ahead and show you some of the bags that I have available. And if you're interested in taking a look at the bags, I am Honeybee Knits Co. on Etsy. So it's honeybeenknitsco.etsy.com. And I will put all of that information in the link in the box below the video. So, as of this recording, these are the project bags that I still have in stock. So, I showed this print on a previous podcast, but I showed it in this bag. So this one is a different size. This one is the 2 to 3 skein project bag, and this is a drawstring, and the inside fabric on this is chevron. So I have this one available. I have 2 of these available where it's the same bumblebee fabric, but with chevron contrasting and polka dots on the inside. And I also have, I am very sorry for the shaking. I do have a tripod today, so I'm hoping that that helps with the issue of the video being lopsided, because I know that has been bothering a few of you. It's also been bothering me. But right now I have the tripod sit on my table, which isn't a very sturdy table, so it does shake around if I just bump it. But it does have legs, so I may pause the video in a few minutes and adjust that if this continues to be a problem. But anyway, so I also have some Paris bags. So again, these ones are drawstrings, and it has this travel through Paris fabric down here, some like cream Eiffel Tower fabric up here, and on the inside it has more of the Eiffel Tower and bicycles. And I just love these fabrics. I think they coordinate together perfectly. So then I have this fabric. So it's just pink Eiffel Tower, the coordinating cream Eiffel Tower fabric, and the bicycle and Eiffel Tower fabric inside. So there's that. And then I also have 3 zipper project bags available. So the first one that I have is this, and it does have a coordinating sewn-in handle, and this has a pink zipper on it, and the inside has the Eiffel Tower bicycle fabric. And then I also have this one. Again, it's the pink Eiffel Tower fabric with the black zipper, coordinating handle, and the inside is that Travel Through Paris fabric, which I think is probably some of my favorite fabric that I've purchased so far. And then this is my favorite. I'm definitely going to have to make one of these for myself. So this one is the Travel Through Paris print on the outside with a white zipper. And on the inside, it's that cream Eiffel Tower fabric. So yeah, these are mostly one of a kind. I do have duplicates of a few of these. Overall, everything that I've shown, I only have one available of right now. With the exception of the one that I said that I have two of. So some other exciting news that I also posted is that the first 10 customers will receive a free skein of sock yarn. So I wanted to show you guys what yarn that will be. So, and these are just going to be random, and I will say that I've sold, I believe, 4 bags as of this podcast. And so there are still 6 spots available to obtain this yarn with your bag purchase. So I'm just going to go through them quickly. And I don't know the colorways off the top of my head. You could go on their website and check it out. These do just have color numbers. So this is 1. This is 2. This is another one. And again, these are in random order, and it'll be completely random on which skein that you get. This is 3. Four. Oh, I love this one. I love this color. It's not my favorite sock yarn to knit with. I do love the fabric that it makes, and I love the wear that it has. They are more hard wearing for socks. The problem is I have all this indie dyed yarn, and when I knit, I typically go for the indie dyed stuff. So this stuff has been sitting on my shelf, and it's really great yarn, and I want to give it a good home. So that's the reason why I'm giving these away. And I thought, what better time to do that and way to do that than to people who I know deserve it. So I just want to kind of share these with you. So this is one of my favorites. It's the rainbow colors. Oh, I love the pink. And then this one. A few of these are the birds colorway from West Yorkshire, and a few of these, like this one, I believe is their cocktail colorways. And then the last skein that I have is Opal. So again, these are all beautiful skeins, all stuff that I would knit with myself. It's just, like I said before, I feel a little gluttonous with the amount of yarn that I have, and I will not get to these anytime soon. So what I did is, I know a few people that I knit for that prefer these type of socks, so I let them pick out the colors that they wanted me to make them socks out of, and I'm giving away the rest. With all that being said about my shop, I do want to thank everybody who's already supported me and purchased a bag, and I do want to thank all of you guys for taking a look. Do not feel obligated to purchase from me. The only reason I'm doing this is because I want to share some of the bags and fabrics that I've made with the rest of the community. I have no expectations for when it comes to money. I'm just selling them for a fair price, what I believe to be a fair price between the cost of the materials and the labor that it takes to make the bags. And that's about it. This is just a hobby business. I enjoy making this stuff, and as you can see, my house is becoming overrun with project bags and yarns and fibers. So I love to create. It's the artist in me and the crafter in me. So what better way to be able to continue to create without hoarding is to spread the love to the community, and also get a little bit of the funds back in the process of the cost of the materials that it takes for me to make these objects. It keeps my husband happy and off my back. So I just want to thank you all for all of your support, and like I said, I'm just so thrilled to have met all of you across the world. So I know I've said that before, but it just still amazes me the messages I get from you guys, and the fact that all of you want to sit at home and knit with me. So just thank you again. So the one thing I will say is that I have come up with names for the different sizes. The ones that I showed so far, they were originally listed as the Beehive bags. I have changed that because I've also I've added 2 additional sizes from these 2. So this is the largest and this is the second largest. I have come up with 2 smaller sizes. So one of the smaller sizes I don't have a prototype of yet to show you, but I plan on working on that this week. But one of them I do, and it's probably my favorite because it's adorable. So I made this. So this is going to be called the Baby Bee Bag. And that's because it is big enough for a 1 skein project. So this is going to be perfect for your socks or your baby garments. And as you can see, I have I have my Hippo for Cinco socks in here that I started. And again, this is going to be either a 1 skein sock project or a baby garment bag, a baby garment project bag, or even a large notions pouch. So if you're looking for a pouch to keep some of your larger notions in, or some more of your notions in, this would be a perfect bag for that. So right now I just have this drawstring one to show, but I do plan on offering each of the sizes with both the drawstring and zippers. So if you're interested, please let me know. I have no problem if you've seen a fabric that you like and you don't see it in the size that you want, please let me know. I have no problem making one for you. So here it is. That's the Baby Bee. So the one that I don't have to show is going to be called the Worker Bee, and that is going to be your 1 to 2 skein projects. So again, your sock projects, maybe if you have contrasting heels and toes, or you have 2 at a time socks, or a small shawl project such as the Genesis wrap that I showed previously, any of those type of projects would fit in that bag. So the ones that are currently listed as the Beehive project bags are going to be changed to the Queen Bee bags. And these are going to be your 2 to 3 skein projects. I will say that I've had 5 skeins of yarn fit comfortably in here. When I added the project to it, it was a little bit tighter. But you can, I'm going to say that it's 2 to 3 skeins, but you can definitely fit more in here depending on the weight of yarn and the size of your project. So these are quite large. So those are the Queen Bees. And then this big monster, this one is going to be called the Beehive bag. So this I would say is going to be your 4 to 5 skein. However, this has my Hohi Locatelli mystery knit along in it, which is 5 skeins plus both pieces of the shawl. So if you've seen how big those are, that fits that, and it still has plenty of room for more. I have another one of these that houses my Cozy Memories blanket. It has a ton of my minis in it along with the blanket itself, which if you see my blanket, it's not huge, but it is rather large, and it also has room to spare. So these are going to be your massive bags, sweater size bags. So those are the 4 sizes that I'm going to currently offer, and each size will have both drawstring and zipper available. As far as production goes, if you want a particular size of bag with either drawstring or zipper, please feel free to message me and let me know, and I will make sure to get those made up. As of right now, I'm just kind of making whatever I feel like making because I'm not exactly sure what you guys would prefer. So again, that's all I'm going to say about my shop news. I'm really excited to do a grand opening. And if you follow me on Instagram, make sure you keep an eye out on my Instagram page because I will be doing a grand opening giveaway this week. I just have to get that package together before I announce that. So yeah, thank you guys. So with that, I'm going to move into the knitting content. And the shop news is always going to be towards the end of my podcast from here on out, but since this was the first podcast since I've opened my shop. I did want to go ahead and put that information out there to you guys in case you were interested. That way you have a chance to get out there and take a look before they sell out, because right now I do not have that many left in there. I think I have 6 bags left right now. So if you are interested in looking at what I have in my inventory, go out and take a look. Okay, so with that, we're going to move into the knitting content. So I normally start out with FOs, which for those of you that aren't aware, those are finished objects. And unfortunately, I don't have any this week. I have been doing a lot of sewing, and I also have been doing a lot of knitting on my mystery knit along, which means that I am caught up on all of the clues up through the end of clue 4. So I'm ready for clue 5, but it also means that I didn't get much knitted on anything else. We did go to Kings Island, which I'll talk about in a week in review. It's actually our local theme park. Last Sunday, and I got a little bit of sock knitting done, but it was super hot. So we ended up going on a few water rides. So between being hot and sweaty and sticky and then wet, I didn't feel like touching wool. So we'll get into that in my weekend review. So I did do a little bit of sock knitting, but not much. However, I will have a finished object for you guys next week because Father's Day is coming up. And as you know, I finished my dad's Father's Day socks, but I have not finished my stepdad's Father's Day socks. And again, it's probably because it's not really my favorite type of yarn to work with, as it is a West Yorkshire yarn, but he chose it and it's a beautiful colorway, so I will knit those for him. So I will have those as a finished object for you guys next week. This week, I only have one whip to show you, and as I mentioned, that's my Joji Locatelli whip. And so, spoiler alert, if you do not want to see how clues 1, 2, 3, or 4 look, turn away now. But if you do, I will show that to you. So this is my first piece that I finished. So for the 4th clue, I started here at the end of this white section, and I knit these 2 lacy sections. So that's how that turns out, and I absolutely love this. This is an ingenious pattern, I think. Besides the ends, which I still haven't one bit in, I think the different colors mixed with the different types of patterns with these little lacy eyelets in between to break them up, it's perfect. I love the way this is turning out, and I can't wait to see how we're going to piece it together in the final clue. So that's my first piece, and here's my second piece. It looks exactly the same, but I just figured I'd show you guys to prove that I have both of them done. Whatever. So colorways. So this is knit with Sweet Georgia yarns and the Tough Lug sock base. This color is charcoal. This color, you guys have given me the mnemonics for, and I'm going to give it a shot. Don't make fun of me. It's acai. Acai? It's a berry. I know that. And if you've watched my previous episodes, I have been spelling it because I didn't know how to pronounce it. So, I believe it's acai. Correct me if I'm wrong. This beautiful purple. And then we have this whitish cream colorway, which is birch. This purple variegated colorway, which has a little bit of the birch, a little bit of the charcoal, a little bit of the acai unit. That is called Anthem. And this blue colorway is called Glacier. So, those are my Joji Locatelli knit along. And I have not mentioned, I've been trying to remember to do this, but I keep forgetting. I am knitting these on my Knit Pro Melodies. Actually, these are Knitter's Pride Melodies, the same as the Knit Pro Zings. Knit Pro Zings in UK, Knitter Pride and everywhere else, and Knitter's Pride Melodies in the US and possibly Canada. So, I've talked about this before. I love the Knitter's Pride Melodies. I was gifted a set of these around Christmas time, and they are some of my favorite shawl needles. I think they're perfect for the thicker fingering weight yarns, anything that's lace weight, I do not prefer these because they're not pointy enough. They are a little bit dull, but for these type of projects, they're perfect. I ordered a couple of their Knit Pro Zings to try out, just because I liked these so much. I wanted to try those as sock needles. And they're not my favorite, but I did power through and knit a pair of socks on them, and I will use them in the future, the ones that I have. The other two I've already sent in giveaways, but I kept 2 of them. So I will use them to work on socks because I figured out a way to... The biggest problem for me was the join. I was having a hard time slipping it over. But in all honesty, I did have a similar problem with the Addy sock rockets. So when they first started, so I decided to just power through it, and I will say that it did get better as I went on. So I will use them. They're not my favorite. And also my stitch markers are these little honeybees from Ann Tudor, which I have a new acquisition from her to show you guys today. And then this one, the eye fell off, which is totally my fault due to heavy petting. But I call him One-Eyed Willie. It's a Goonie thing. But yeah, so there's my honeybee stitch markers. So my next work in progress for those spinners out there will be excited to see. I worked on my spinning project last night just so that I had some spinning to show you guys because I felt really bad that I haven't had any. And again, I think I'm getting a lot better on the consistency. This is something that I hand dyed myself a few years ago, about 1.5 years ago when I first started dyeing. I'm not sure of the fiber content, it's a mystery, but as far as the thickness goes, I think it's right where I want it to be. When I apply it, it should be a fingering weight. This one I plan on applying from the center, caking it up and plying from the center and outer of the ball. I don't plan on chain plying this, even though I have said that I do want to get some more practice with chain plying. So there's that, my ginormous bobbin. Couple of you guys on Ravelry have mentioned that you want to see my spinning wheel in action. I'm pretty sure I do have a video, and if I find it, I will for sure put it at the end of this video. If not, I will take one this week and put it up next week so you guys can take a look and see my spinning wheel. It is a National Custom Spinworks wheel. If you haven't heard of them or seen them, they are all aluminum wheels, so they are a bit heavier, but they are considered production wheels. Their bobbins are ginormous. This is the smallest bobbin I have. I also have a jumbo bobbin that I showed on the previous podcast, which I don't know why I would need that unless I'm doing some sort of art yarn, which I love the look of art yarn, but for me, I don't knit enough of the smaller yardage projects for the price of art yarn to be worth it. But I do appreciate it because I know that it takes a lot of work. So I have some fun acquisitions to show you guys. A lot of these are stuff that I previously purchased. I think only one of these I've purchased since I last spoke with you guys. It's just I was waiting on them all to come in the mail. So this, I'll start with the one that I purchased since I last spoke with you. And you've probably seen these all over Instagram and all over other podcasts, but how could you not get these? Yeah. If you haven't seen these are progress keepers from Ann Tudor. She also makes them in stitch markers. And you have the hippo hiney, the sheep hiney, and the pig hiney. And I have another set of progress keepers that I'm using, of stitch markers that I'm using in a giveaway that has the hippo hiney in it along with some hippo faces. So I will show those at the end of this podcast. But anyway, I figured these were perfect to put on my socks. I love them. I do use progress keepers for my knitting, so which is something I'm going to start being better at because I know I've been really good about showing you guys where I started. So when I show you a project that I've shown previously, I do a good job of showing you where I ended on the previous podcast and what I've knit since you've seen me. But I'm going to do a better job of putting progress keepers on there so that you can actually see the amount of progress that I've had since you guys have seen the project. So there they are. They're adorable. I had to have them. You probably have to have them, so go out and find them. And you can just Google her website. I believe, yeah, it's just www.annetudor.com. I don't know if you can see her contact information there. So those are for me. So then the next skein, the next acquisition I have to show you is a skein of yarn, and I mentioned it in my last podcast because I had ordered from both her and her daughter. If you watch the Yarn Cafe, the girls in the Yarn Cafe, her daughter, and I haven't gotten this far, but I believe their grandmother, from what I've heard in other podcasts, also died. So in the previous podcast, I showed my Dragon Horde yarn. And this podcast, I'm showing my Yarn Cafe Creations yarn that came. And oh my gosh, look at that sparkle. This, I was totally enabled by the Knit for Brains podcast. I believe Alicia had this colorway. I had to get it. It's called Mermaid Party. And it is everything I wanted to be and more. These colors are so amazing. To have these deep, rich green, tealy colors with these bright pops of pink and orange, and then this light pastel-y teal. These colors together are genius. I never would have thought to put them all together. And the sparkle, their base is amazing. First off, it's so fluffy and soft. I want to know where they get their yarn from. But the sparkle, I have never seen. You know, I've talked about nomadic yarns and how sparkly her yarns are. I didn't think you could get sparklier yarn, but I've proven myself wrong. What do I know? I mean, I just can't stop showing this. Anyway, go get some because you have to have this in your stash. It's just so squishy. So I'm really excited to knit that up. I've mentioned before that I'm going to do the Changing Staircases, which I believe is a pattern that Tristan of Dragon Horde Yarn came up with. And I'm going to use some yarn that me and a few of my friends purchased when we were in Kentucky. And I also mentioned I was going to do a second one with the Dragon Horde yarn. This might be a third. I understand now why Laura and Alicia are addicted to those shawls. Because they look great for variegated skeins. Come on. Go buy some of this. Seriously. The prices for this type, I mean, I think this was like $20 or $22 plus shipping on Etsy. Oh, I guess I should show you her Etsy shipping information. She is Yarn Cafe Creations on Instagram. yarncafecreations.patternbyetsy.com, yarncafecreations.etsy.com, which is where I got the yarn from, and Yarn Cafe on Twitter, and Yarn Cafe Creations on Ravelry. So she is everywhere. So hopefully, I don't know if that's showing up in the camera. But in case not, it's yarncafecreations.etsy.com. And her colorways are amazing. When I get back from Fort Wayne this weekend, which I'll talk about. When I get back from Fort Wayne this weekend and I have my yarn budget back for the month, a lot of it's going to be spent in her shop and Tristan's shop. Because I've got to have some more of their yarn. I say that, but then look at all my... I don't even have room for one. Cozy Knitter had some club openings, I believe, at the end of June and June's club. If you're not familiar with her club automatically, the subscription automatically renews every month. I'm not sure if there's a limit on the amount of months, but you can cancel it at any time. So right now I'm just letting it ride. It's a good price for the type of yarn she sends. She always sends 115 grams. I've shown her yarn before. If you have not received your May colorway yet, look away because I don't want to spoil it for you. But if you have or you're interested in seeing what that is, here it is. This is called Neapolitan on her Bliss base, which is fingering weight 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 115 grams. So she gives you 420 yards total. She gives you 85 grams of the striping colorway, and she gives you a 30 gram mini for heels, cuffs, and toes. And guess what, guys? I hear the mailman, and I know I have more acquisitions coming today. So when I'm done with all this, I will pause and go back and get those so I can show you those. But anyway, so there's that. Do you hear them? I love that sound. The mail truck. Stop, go, stop, go, stop, go means I'm getting goodness today. Ooh, he had to turn off his truck. That means I'm getting a big delivery, because if he turns off his truck, that means he's coming to the door because it won't fit in my mailbox, and I have a big mailbox. I'm so weird. Does anybody else stalk the mailman? Because I totally do, and I know my mailman hates me. I'm going to have to knit him some socks or a scarf or something, or a hat for Christmas. But anyway, I know he judges me because I get all of these yarny packages, and he's probably like, what in the heck is this lady doing with all of this yarn? So anyway, Cozy Knitter, Neapolitan colorway, Bliss Base. I love this. Her colorways, I believe, are restricted for 6 months. It might even be as long as a year. Don't quote me on that. I know she has the information on her shop, which is www.thecozyknitter.com. And so what that means is that she will not release this as a shop. Her Yarn of the Month colorway, she will not release in her shop for at least 6 months to a year after they were dyed. So if you want this and you didn't subscribe, you cannot get this. I'm sorry. You can't get this right now, but if you follow her, and you can go on there and ask and find this colorway and ask that you be notified when she has it in her shop, and she'll send you an email so you'll be the first to know, which I get the emails even before she does the announcement on Instagram for the shop updates. So there was one colorway that I have been dying to get, which most of you, if you know the Cozy Knitter, probably already have been trying to chase this colorway as well. And it is Celebrate the Night. So she has a celebration colorway, which is like a rainbow stripe with white in between the colors. And then she has Celebrate the Night, which is the same rainbow sequence, but it has black in between. And I have Celebration, and I've been wanting Celebrate the Night, and I finally got it the other day. I wasn't going to buy any more yarn, like I said on my last podcast, except for specialty yarns, club yarns, and Simply Stock Yarn Company that I'm going to in Fort Wayne this weekend. And I stuck to that. I'm proud of myself, but I'm still spending too much, and I need to cut back on a few of the clubs. Anyway, Cozy Knitter, I'm in a rambling mood. I also wanted to mention, because I didn't say this when I was showing the sparkly yarn, because I was enamored by the sparkly and I got distracted. Again, I know I mentioned the colorway name, which is Mermaid Party, but this is on her Twinkle sock base, and again, this is Yarn Cafe Creations. It's her Twinkle sock base, 70% superwash merino wool, 25% nylon, 5% Selena, which this has to be more than 5% Selena. 100 grams is 3.5 ounces fingering weight, and it's 463 yards. So there's that. I'm all over the place today. The next acquisition I want to show you, I'm so excited. I ordered these about a month ago, but I have been coveting them for a long time, for over a year. I originally saw them on Instagram way back in the day. And then I saw them on the Grocery Girls podcast, one of their first podcasts. And I kept going to her Instagram page, and I kept going to her Etsy shop, and it kept saying shop update, news to come soon. And it turned out that that post was over a year old, and it said that she couldn't accept custom colorways at this time. Turns out she's just been way busy. And so I messaged her and I said, hey, I know your shop, your note says that you don't accept custom colorways or custom orders, but you haven't had a shop update in a long time, and I really need some of your yarn. Would you be willing to dye me up a few colorways? And she said, absolutely. Well, here's the price, here's the information. How many do you want, and what colorways? Ladies and gentlemen, I am talking about coloring book yarns. If you have been coveting her yarn like I have, message her. She does do custom orders. I did 4 skeins, because why not? So this first colorway is Sweet Tooth. And this is fingering weight, 400 yards is 100 grams. It's 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. The next colorway is TV. And I have Good Vibes, which Tracy of the Knitting, of the Grocery Girls podcast has knit up. I think she recently finished it. And then I also have Vintage Holiday, which I think Jody knit. And if you've seen, in the skein, to me, and this is a lot like the Desert Vista Dye Works Zombie colorways. In the skein, to me, this does not look like anything special. It looks, I would buy it, but it wouldn't be a top on my list. Knit up, these look amazing. The way these, the sequence, the width of the stripes, the way they knit up, the twist of the yarn, they look gorgeous. You need to look it up if you haven't seen it. In fact, these will be one of my newer cast-ons, which I'm trying not to cast on anything else because I have so much cast on right now. But I will cast one of these on soon so you guys can see. Go check her out. I'm so sorry for the enabling today. I'm in that kind of mood. Okay, I'm going to pause before I go into the next segment, and I'm going to go get my mail because I want to show you what I just got. I'm not even sure, but I'm pretty sure, like I'm almost positive I got some stuff that I want to show you. So I'll be right back. You stay. Okay, this is the stuff we don't care about. Bills and junk mail. This is the stuff we care about, right? Okay, I'm back. So, you guys, I have been waiting on this forever, and I have talked about it on every podcast except for this one. Guess what finally came? Did you guess it? Hue Loco, So Faded, sweater kit in the prison colorways. Didn't I just say I'm not going to cast anything else on anytime soon? I want another So Faded sweater. These colors. Okay, so we have Fig, Gumdrop, wait. Yeah. Fig, Gumdrop, Monet, Water Pixie, and Free Spirit. And I'll just bring those up close so you guys can see. And they are on her spun sock base, 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon, 400 yards per 100 grams. It's going to start from this color and go to this color. I already know. I'm so excited, guys. So excited. I'm really sorry about the crinkling, by the way. No, I'm not. It's fantastic. Okay, guys. This other stuff is a shop acquisition, but I had to show you. So I found somebody on Etsy, and I'm sorry I don't remember the shop name, but I just Googled it and it came up, who does custom logos and business card designs. And I thought, I'm opening a business, and I like to go overboard, so why not? So I ordered business cards. So I have the logo drawn up from the lady, approved it. If you follow me on Instagram or you follow me on Etsy, you've already seen the logo. But I had some business cards made. So here they are. I am so thrilled with how this turned out. Yeah. Then on the back it has my contact information. So these will go out with every order, which I'm sure you guys are not as excited about business cards as I am. And Vistaprint is the devil. Because as you're checking out, they show you all these cool things that you can add to increase the marketing of your business and all this other stuff. Like, I need that. I'm selling on Etsy. I don't have my own, whatever. So the first thing I fell down the rabbit hole was with postcards, because who doesn't want a postcard with a handwritten note in their package? Because I totally love that, so I know you guys will. And then it said, you know, What are you going to write your postcard with? Don't you need a pin with your logo on it? Of course I do. Yeah. I only ordered one because they were, I mean, it's ridiculously expensive for what it is. I mean, it's probably just got my logo, like a sticker with my logo on it, on a pin. Really cheap pin. It was $3. But I don't care. I don't think I've ever spent $3 on a single pin in my life. But I don't care. I love it. I want it. So I got it. And then they said, you're going to be shipping out packages. Don't you need return address labels? Yes, I do. Logo right there. I'm not going to show these up close because it has my address on it. I have not set up a P.O. box yet. That'll be one of the next things I do. So, that's the other package that came. If you're not interested in that, sorry, I had to show you. Anyway, I'm excited that I actually figured out how to do this stuff because I always am like, oh, I love these business cards. How do you have that done? How do you create a logo for yourself? My computer skills suck. My husband is a computer programmer. He's a computer engineer, but sorry about the shaking. My husband is a computer engineer, but he is not a graphic design artist. And he drew up a few logos, and they were great. They were fantastic, but they weren't what I was looking for. This lady, I sent her 3 inspiration photos and some ideas of what I had, and she came up with this, which is pretty much exactly what I had in my mind. It's a little bit different interpretation, but it's fantastic. It's even better than what I thought. Look at the bee. I need to come up with a name for him. It's a he because it doesn't have eyelashes. If it had eyelashes, it'd be a girl. But it's a he. So if you guys have any ideas because he's going to be my new mascot. Look at me. I'm not crazy. I've sold 4 bags. I'm on Etsy. I don't plan on being some like crazy retailer that needs a mascot, but I want a mascot because my name's Melissa and I'm addicted to everything, so why not? I'm going on a rant now. I'm sorry, guys. Guys, I'm so excited to be here with you today. I am having such a great time. You know, my last 2 or 3 podcasts have not been what I wanted them to be. They were great, and I was happy with the final product, but I haven't been myself because, as you know, I've been going through a lot in my personal life. But today just feels like a really great day. I feel happy today. And that's because of you guys, because you guys are amazing. I get so many great messages from you guys. It's so encouraging, uplifting, and supportive. And that's exactly what I have needed these last few weeks. So, and if it weren't for you guys, I would be in my depression hole. So thank you guys so much for not letting me go into my depression hole. I'm happy today. Okay. It does help. My husband's going at work and he's going to game night tonight. So I have the house to myself again, which I love. Okay, guys. We're an hour into this and I'm not done yet. I am about 3/4 of the way through. So bear with me. I still have yarny stuff to talk about. I'm going to bring you guys closer. What do you think about that? Now I think it's lopsided, but oh well. Okay. So, Ravelry group news. We have our year-long sock cow, and I know this is confusing, so I'm going to explain it again. I have not had any questions on this, but it's confusing for me, and I'm the one that set it up, so I know it's got to be confusing for you guys, and I just want to make sure that everybody understands. So, for the month of May, any socks knit from May 1st to June 15th will count in our May sock knit along and be eligible for the May prize. So May 1st to June 15th. As long as your project is posted in the Ravelry group by June 15th, technically the 16th because I'll close the thread the following morning whenever I remember to do it. So as long as it is entered before I close the thread, you will be entered to win. I'm going to draw the grand prize and the 2 supplemental prizes, which I'm not sure what those are yet, on June 21st. For May. I have the grand prize in front of me, so I know what the grand prize is going to be, and I'll show you that in a second. Look at me with my little pen pointing. Ooh, I have my special pen. Anyway, so for May, that's the news for May. For June, the sock knit along will go from June 1st to June 30th. And for the May one, whips are allowed. So if you had a pair of socks started before May 1st, feel free to finish those and enter those into the May thread. For June, if you have a whip, you cannot enter that into this knit along. I will have knit alongs in the future for sock whips, but for now, let's keep this whip free. So June will go from June 1st to June 30th, no whips. And if I will be drawing prizes for those in the first podcast in July. I don't have the date on that yet, and I don't have the package for the June prize yet. But the most important part, if you knit your socks between June 1st and June 15th, you can enter them into both the May sock knit along and the June sock knit along. So if you started your socks on or after June 1st and they are finished before June 15th, you are eligible for both months' prizes. But you have to post in both threads. If you started prior to June 1st, those socks are eligible for May's knit along, but not for June's. If you finish after June 15th, those socks are eligible for June's knit alongs, but not for May. Hope that makes sense. Any questions? Go out on the Ravelry thread and let me know, or send me a message and I will clear it up for you. And I have a prize package for May. If you'll recall, I got a lovely donation from Faith's Thread. I believe it was my second or third podcast I showed it. And she sent us a project bag and a stitch marker. So this will be part of the prize package for the May sock knit along. So you'll get this project bag and stitch marker. You will also get this skein of Opal sock yarn and these hippo markers that also has a hippo hiney along with some hippo faces from Ann Tudor. And you will get this bar of Tuft Woolens sock soap, which you can actually, it's blocking soap, so you don't have to just use it for socks. It's for any of your wool garments in the espresso vanilla flavor. And the reason I'm giving this away is because I got 2 of them and I didn't realize it, but they smell really good. And you will also be receiving the skein coat, and this is from Precious Knit Shop. So to recap, you will be receiving the bag and the Progress Keeper from Faith's Thread. You will be receiving the skein of Opal sock yarn, the skein coat with the little kitty cats, the Tuft Woolens sock bar, and the Ann Tudor stitch markers. This is a huge prize package for socks, but it's my first knit along. Not all of them will have this many prizes. It's just, since this is the first one, I wanted it to be extra special for you guys, because most of you guys have been with me from the beginning. And I just want to thank everyone in this community that has been so fantastic. So that's that. We also have a Joji Locatelli knit along, which is ramping up in the threads, and I'm really excited. I think we have 2 FOs. So far, there is a 50-50 shot that you will win, one of you guys will win this prize. However, the knit along does go through June 30th, and I will draw for prizes on July 5th. And which will also be when I announce the June sock knit along, is July 5th. And the prize package for that is, first off, you're going to receive this project bag from Molly Klein Designs, one of my really good friends on Instagram. Hi, Molly. So I went crazy a few months ago and bought a ton of owl project bags from her. I think I bought like 3 owl project bags. And I love the owls. I do. But it's sad because this has just been sitting on my shelf and I have not used it yet. And it needs to go to a good home. As much as I love this and I would use this and I want to keep it and I eyed it in her shop for a long time, I feel guilty because I don't have the amount of time to have a project to go in this, just because I have so many other bags right now. So there it is. So you'll receive this project bag by Molly Klein Design. You will receive this skein of Must Stash yarns in the 10 days of Fiesta colorway. And this is 10 even stripes. It's her must match base, which is 2 perfectly matched half skeins twisted together. 75-25% superwash merino nylon, 440 yards. So you'll receive this, not this one's mine. Yours is still wrapped up, but I wanted to show you in case you forgot. You will receive this bar of Texas Sunshine from Tough Woolens, and it is a lanolin rich hand balm, knitter's balm, which I use this almost every time I knit. It's perfect for tough, especially for the Opal yarns and the more hard wearing yarns. This will keep your hands from getting chapped. So it prevents hangnails, because I know I get a lot of hangnails from my knitting. I don't know if anybody else does, but yeah. So you'll receive this, which you can only get this in the Mustache shop. You can't get it from Tough Woolens. It's exclusive to her shop. You will also receive these stitch markers and 2 progress keepers from Knitty by Nature. And this skein coat, which I'm sorry I opened this one, but I will make sure to tape it up before I send it out. So this is what you will receive for the Hohi Locatelli knit along if you participate and get your FOs in before June 30th. So, prizes, so exciting. So speaking of Ravelry group news, again, sorry for the shaking. Next time I'm going to put the tripod on the ground instead of on the table. But as I was saying, more Ravelry group news. So twice a month I'm going to be doing the random draws that I did last week on the podcast. And I will be drawing multiple winners from different random Ravelry threads within the group to win pattern prizes. And I am going to choose the patterns for those prizes from the Plug Your Business /podcast thread. So if you are a designer, please go out there and enter in your designs, because I would love to gift a few of your patterns. And so the threads that I'll randomly draw from include, but are not limited to, the whips thread, the questions and general chat thread, and the introduction thread. The only thread I'm not going to pull from is going to be the FO threads. And that's because I'm already going to be pulling pattern prizes from those for those knit alongs. So I don't feel the need to do that for this. And I have 2 new items of business to let you guys know about. So if you have a podcast, please go out in the Ravelry thread, in that same thread, and plug your podcast. I have decided, again, I want to share the love. I'm going to be pulling one random podcaster or podcast group a month. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send that podcaster a giveaway prize for their podcast. So I'm not sure what that prize is going to be. I know it will be probably yarn related, project bag related, stitch marker related, Notion related. I will be sending that podcaster once a month. I'll pull a podcast winner, somebody that has a podcast and has told me about it on the thread, and I will be sending that to them. So I think it's just a great way for you guys to get your name out. And I love watching you guys, and I love finding new podcasts. In fact, I found another one this week. So, and that's because of you guys. So if you have a podcast, go out there and put it in there. Also, if you have a business, so such as an Etsy website, a regular website, some website where you sell your products, go in there and put your information in, because I'm starting a new segment. And it's called Shop of the Week. So this week's Shop of the Week is Fate's Thread. She's fantastic. you need to go to her website and check out her product. It fell off. It's kind of hanging off right here. She sent me this project bag and a stitch marker for myself. She sent this for you guys. She has beautiful drawstring bags. She has a ton of stitch markers out there, and she's a new business too. And she also has generously donated a coupon code for our podcast, and that is FT First Year 10 for 10% off her shop for any of her products. So go out to her website, which the information will be below, and it's also in the Ravelry thread, and take a look at her items, and if you see anything that strikes your fancy, make sure to use that coupon code for 10% off. So congratulations, Faith's Thread, for being our shop of the week. Next week, I'm hoping, I already have made a purchase from another shop that has been mentioned in that thread. And I'm hoping that it gets here before next week so that I can feature them next week. If not, I have a backup. So I'm excited to tell you guys about that. So make sure if you have a shop, go out there and put it in the thread. Item of business, since I talked about Faith's Thread coupon code, we have a couple more coupon codes that I mentioned last week, but I'm just going to go over them again. We have the Fresh Pineapple Socks pattern by Baba Yaya, and that pattern is $1 with the coupon code BBYY, and that is good through June 15th. So you only have a couple more days to get out there and get that coupon code, so make sure that you do that. And then she also has another pattern that is the Autumn Air hand warmers, and that pattern is free with the coupon code MAYFREE, and that is also through June 15th. Go out and get that pattern. It's free. Just do it. MAYFREE. That's the coupon code. So, in addition to that, we have another coupon code, and this is from Handmade by Zahn, and I think I'm saying that right. If I'm not, please let me know. And the coupon code for that is THANK YOU10, so you can save 10% off your next order. And again, we have the last one that we have this week is Kate G Designs, and she just designed the Aloria cowl, and you can save 25% off from now until June 13th with the code NEW25. So 25% off that cowl. That cowl is beautiful. I gifted, I believe, 2 of them last week. So you need to go out and take a look at that cowl. It's going to be perfect knit. It'd be a perfect Christmas knit, or anything, Christmas knit, fall knit. It'll be perfect for football season. Go take a look. So that leads us into Ravelry questions. So the first Ravelry question, which I was just speaking of Christmas knits. So this comes from Jack from Forget It About It on Ravelry. And he asks, do you knit for others for holidays like Christmas? I always say I'm not going to, and then I do, and it's so stressful and I regret it. Jack, I am right there with you. I do the exact same thing. I always say I'm not going to, and then sometime between July and October, I will decide to, and I will just stress myself out to the max. 2 years ago, I knit a pair of socks for every single person on my dad's side of the family, including aunts, uncles, cousins, my dad, of course, my dad's girlfriend, of course. Yeah, it was fun, but it was stressful, let me tell you. And I was tired of socks by the time I was done, but it gave me good practice because I tried a lot of different patterns, and that's kind of how I decided that I really like the Fishlets Kiss Heel, because I tried a bunch of different sock patterns when I was doing that. Last year, I started knitting for Christmas in January. I started knitting a log cabin blanket for my dad because I knew that I wanted to knit him a blanket. He is very sentimental, and he loves, like, he has quilts that my mom and my grandma made years and years and years ago. And I know he is knit worthy. I've said that before on the podcast, and I wasn't quite ready to make a sweater because I had never made one, but I wanted to make him something that he could have for a long time. And eventually it'll be passed back to me and on to my kids. So I and it has a great story behind it. So yes, I did knit him a blanket last year. And I also, last year for Christmas, what I did is I was more conscientious of the patterns and the yarns that I picked out throughout the year. So that each project had a particular person in mind, even the mystery projects that I did. So anything I knit last year there was a rare occasion, especially in October, I knit 2 things for myself. But most of what I knit last year was gift knitting, either for birthdays or Christmas gifts. So last year when it came time for Christmas, I had a gift basket where I had knit things and then I blocked them and I put them in the gift basket, all folded nice and neatly. So all I had to do was wrap them. So that was, if you are planning to Christmas knit, that has probably been the least stressful thing that I have done. In the past, I would say that I've done Christmas knitting for the past 4 or 5 years in a row. And in the past, I've stressed myself out to the max to the last minute. Last year was the only year that I was not stressed trying to finish a project the night before Christmas so that I could get it to the recipient. However, something flipped this year. I don't know what it is. I have been doing only selfish knitting. I have knit, I think, 2 things for other people. 3. 2 things for other people. I've knit my dad a pair of socks, which I showed on the podcast. Those are the Harley socks I finished a few weeks ago. And I knit my mom a birthday gift. I knit her a shawl. And I started that before Christmas because her birthday is in January. So really everything I've knit this year has been for myself. And I'm okay with that. I have put the word out that most likely family members will not be receiving knitted gifts this year unless I find something that strikes my fancy and reminds me of them that I want to knit. Most of what I knit this year will be for myself or my dad or my stepdad or my mom. Won't be doing too much knitting for friends. I might make a pair of socks here or there. I have a friend, Krista. Hi, Krista. She just started watching the podcast. I taught her how to knit about a year, maybe a year and a half ago. And she is one of my best friends, and I have knit her, I think, 2 pairs of socks. Even though she knits socks, I like to knit them for her because, again, she's very knit-worthy, and I've been more conscientious of who I knit for. If they're not going to appreciate it, I don't do it. For example, and I can say this because I don't think she'll ever watch, but my mother-in-law, I love her to death. She is most people complain about their mother-in-laws. I do not. And while she does appreciate my knitted items, she really does, I have noticed that she does not use them. So I've knit her a entrelac scarf, which I thought would be very useful to her because she's tiny and she gets very cold in winter, and it was Noro yarn. So in entrelac, if you're not familiar with it, it was very thick, and the way it's knit, it was like, it's entrelacked, so it overlaps, and there was no wind that could get through. I never saw her wear it, not even when I gave it to her, which is fine. It does not hurt my feelings when somebody does not wear something I've made. It just puts kind of a red flag in my mind that, hey, maybe they don't feel comfortable in certain wools, maybe they're allergic, or maybe they just don't want to say anything because they're afraid I'll hurt my feelings. But they will hurt my feelings, and I have tried to express that it's not going to hurt my feelings. If you enjoy my knitted items, please give me feedback on what I knit for you. Is it too small? Is it too big? Is it too itchy? Do you not like the colors? Do you not like the pattern? I want to know this so that if you want more knitted items, I know next time. I would rather you tell me and me be able to make you a knitted item that fits great and that you love and you will use and wear than to knit you something that you love but you're not going to use and wear. And that's why I love knitting for my dad, is because when I knit him a pair of socks or I knit him a blanket or whatever, and the blanket he was 100% thrilled with, he did not say any feedback on that, but it took me a year to make it, so I would have been a little sad if he had something negative to say, but he didn't. But anyway, his socks, so far, he has given me great feedback on the colors, the fit, the length, as far as up the cuff, the type of heel, he's given me feedback on all of that, so now I have it down to a science on, if it's a cashmere base, he likes this size versus a sport weight or a regular sock yarn nylon base. So yeah, there's my spiel about that. And going back to my mother-in-law, I knit her a pair of socks because she is retired now, and she spends a lot of her time at home babysitting my niece and nephews. I have one niece and 3 nephews, and she spends a lot of time, well, my one niece and nephew live with her, and then the younger 2 pretty much stay with her throughout the week because their mom has to commute so far for work and whatnot. But anyway, so she has them 5 days a week, and then she has the other 2 full-time. So she doesn't get to leave the house very often, and she likes to be comfortable and cozy, so I knit her a pair of socks, and I've never seen them on her. I've never received feedback. I've asked about them, and she says she loves them, and that's about all I get. So while I do love my mother-in-law, I tend to not knit her very many items, just because that was 2 instances where I spent a lot of time into something where I know they were appreciated and loved, but they weren't well loved to the point where they were being used. They're probably sitting in her drawer somewhere protected, which is fine, but just putting that out there. That is a long rant about gift knitting, and I am sorry because I'm not sure you asked for that, but there's that. So thank you very much for your question. So our next question comes from Vicky, which is V Shaw on Ravelry, and she said, "Hi Melissa, can you please share what patterns you used to make the project bags you showed off in episode 6 and where you got the patterns from? They turned out great." Thank you, Vicky. So a couple of you have asked me. So I use 1 tutorial and 1 pattern. Let me go get the pattern. So I did have 1 pattern that I used to make the zipper bags, the original ones, and 1 tutorial I used on YouTube to make the drawstring bags. And I will say that my bags have a little bit of both patterns incorporated into them, as well as my own modifications. So the bags that I show are not exactly what you're going to get if you are going to follow these to the T. So the very first bag I made, which was that blue bumblebee bag with the crazy messed up pocket, I followed the pattern to a T, as the direction says, to the best of my ability, as in I've never read a sewing project before, and I know that I did the pockets wrong. So if you follow this pattern, your pockets will turn out a lot better than mine if you're a more experienced sewist. But anyway, so I used the Simplicity 1079 pattern, and I made the C bag. So the way this shows, it has like the rope handle, it has grommets on it. I didn't see, there's no pockets in the picture. But it is a good tutorial, it is a good pattern if you want to learn how to do a divided zippered bag. So the first, does have a divider in it, and the first couple bags I made, I did include the divider, but I didn't like it. I like having a divider in my bags, I really do, but I didn't like the way this pattern did the divider, so on the second bag, I did modify it. As well as the pocket. I didn't like the pocket directions at all, so I modified the pocket on the second bag as well. But it is a great pattern. It does have some other organizational patterns inside of it that I haven't looked at yet. I am interested in this needle cozy down here, and then this kind of wall hanging organizational system. It has another bag, and it looks like it has like a crochet pouch pattern. But this is basically what I've used. And what I did is I did not use the paper patterns it comes with. I cut those out and then I traced them onto cardstock, and I used that for my pattern cutout. But I don't use that anymore for the bags I have. I have a different method. In fact, the only similarity to this pattern that I have in my bags that I'm making now is the sizing, I think, for one of the bags, which is the one that I have for sale right now. Everything else has been modified. So that's what I started out with. The tutorial that I looked at was mainly I wanted to learn how to do the drawstring channels. And I had a pretty good idea of how to do them, but I wasn't 100% positive. And that tutorial is the Big O bag, BIGGO bag tutorial. You can Google it and it should come up on Instagram. I think it's like a 20-minute video, and she shows you step by step from cutting the fabric out to sewing all the different areas. So again, the bags that I have are kind of a mixture between the two plus my own modifications. So if you follow those patterns or those tutorials to a T, you will not end up with the same bags that I have, but you will be able to make a decent bag. And there's nothing wrong with the way they were. It's just, for me, I wasn't happy with them 100%. So I made my own modifications for those. So I hope that answers everybody's question, because I know I've gotten a lot of questions on that. So if you are a sewist and you're looking for some easy to follow patterns or tutorials, check those out. I will say the simplicity pattern was not very easy for me to follow, but that is because I was a beginner and I hadn't yet read a sewing pattern. And when I say that, I'll just leave it at that. I hadn't done a lot of sewing since I read that pattern. I had read sewing patterns and sewn a little bit with my mom when I was younger, but I had never done one on my own. And for me to do that on my own, it was not the easiest thing to follow. But if you have experience with reading patterns, then I'm sure you'll do fine with that. Yeah, so I hope that answers your question, Vicki. Thank you. So the next question I have is from Joanne in Wisconsin. And she asked, she said, enjoying your podcast. And she did say she's done a lot of sewing in her lifetime, and she thinks that I'm doing great. Thank you very much, Joanne. She said there is a website, and she thinks it's called allfreesewing.com, and they publish free sewing patterns and instructions daily. So if you are interested in that, check that out, allfreesewing.com. Thank you very much for that tip, Joanne. And she goes on to say, I do have a question. My oldest granddaughter is getting married in October, and I want to make her a wedding shawl. She is having a barn wedding, so it might be kind of drafty. Can you suggest a pattern that is really beautiful but not too complicated, as I'm considering myself an advanced beginner? Patterns that are easier seem to be too simplistic for a wedding. Thanks, Melissa, and keep up the good work. So thank you very much for the question, Joanne. So I don't know if you've had a chance to check out Ravelry, but my good friend Elizabeth, who I'm traveling to Fort Wayne with this Saturday, she suggested 2 shawls, both of which she's knit, and you can go in her project page and check these out. She's knit the Darwin shawl by Very Busy Monkey and the Long Shadows shawl wrap by Ann Hansen. And both of which are very beautiful, and they are very lacy. But I can tell you I haven't knit any Very Busy Monkey patterns, but the Ann Hansen, I have knit her patterns, and they are very easy to follow. And if you consider yourself an advanced beginner, you'll have no problems with that. I will say that, and I'm going to put Elizabeth on the spot, but it is helpful to pick a pattern that somebody that you can get in touch with has knit previously if you're not sure of the complexity, because that person will be able to help you out with a pattern if you get stuck, and it's kind of like having a partner in crime that can help you if you have questions or you come across an area that you're having trouble with. So I'm hoping, since Elizabeth has knit those, if you do decide, I'm sure that if you send me a message or her a message, if you do need help, I'm sure that either one of us will be able to help you out with that. And then I have 2 pattern suggestions as well that you might want to check out if those don't interest you. And they are a little more simplistic than the ones Elizabeth showed. However, these ones still have lace in them to make them a little more, so they're simple patterns, but they, like, the one has a lace panel and the other one has a lace border. So the first one is called the Vita Shawl by Mina Phillip. And I knit this. This is my project page. You can go check it out. But basically on the ends, it's all knit. It's all stockinette. And it has a lace pattern, leaf pattern in the middle. And it is rather large. So it is good for wrapping around, and I think it's just enough lace that it's not too simple, but it's not too much so it's not too complicated. And then also the Seraphim shawl, and I think I'm saying that right. It's Sherapphim by Miriam L. Felton. And I've also knit this pattern, and from the top down, so it is worked top down, and it's another triangular shawl, but it is rather large, and it can be used as a wrap. And it's basic stockinette down, and then it has a lace applied border at the bottom, and it's very beautiful. So if you want to check out any of those 4 patterns, I think those would be great suggestions for your daughter for her wedding day. And congratulations. So thank you guys so much for the questions. Make sure that if you have any questions, you feel free to go out there and put them in Ravelry, and I will either answer them in the Ravelry group or on the podcast, or both. That's it for the yarny information. If you want to stick around for my weekend review, I will be talking a little bit about some podcasts I've been watching, and also my upcoming trip to Fort Wayne this Saturday. And if you're not interested in that, thank you so much for joining me. I know this is a very long podcast today. I've been quite chatty, so thank you for sticking around, and I'll see you next week. So if you're staying, this week has been a really good week. I'll start off with my dog. She had some really good days. Where she was acting like a puppy. She got some of her favorite bones, went on a couple walks, same old song dance. She's still doing okay, which I'm very thankful for. I'm just enjoying the time that I have with her. She has had a couple of rough days these last 2 days. She's just been very tired, so we're just giving lots of cuddles and treats, and keeping her. So there's not really a whole lot to update on her. As far as myself goes, again, I don't really have an update. I meet with the surgeon on this coming Monday, so I should have more information next week. So as far as podcast goes, I've been watching the Girls from the Yarn Cafe, and I haven't got a whole lot of podcast watching in because, as you may know, House of Cards debuted this past weekend, so my husband and I binge watched the entire season in a couple days, which not good for our couch potato health, but anyway, it was pretty good. It wasn't my favorite season, but it was good. We also have been watching 24 some more. Like I said, we're on the 5th season. We're about 7 episodes into that, and I've been trying to finish up Twin Peaks. I know it's an older TV show, but I had never watched it before, and I think I have 2 episodes left plus the prequel movie, and then I'll be able to start watching the new series that debuted a few weeks ago. So that's what I've been watching. Other than that, I've just been sewing, and I did a little bit of spinning last night. I've done quite a bit of knitting on my Joji Locatelli shawl. I've been kind of secluded this week. I did take quite a few naps, just because I've been exhausted. Sunday we went to Kings Island. We have season passes to our local theme park, which is about, 30 minutes away from our house. And the reason why it's not even 30 minutes, it's probably 25 minutes. And the reason why we have season passes is because my niece and nephew get season passes for their Christmas gift every year from my in-laws. And they stay with us a lot on the weekends. They spend a lot of time with us, and we wanted to be able to take them. And it has a water park, and it also has a theme park. So I normally go for the water park. I love going and just floating in the lazy river, or reading or knitting outside. I do very few of the slides. They have 2 wave pools, which I really enjoy. Makes me think that I'm in the ocean, even though I'm not. And they have a couple of water rides in the theme park area that I really enjoy. One's a whitewater rapids ride, which is my favorite. I go on that every time I go to the theme park, whether I'm in my bathing suit or not. And I also enjoy the log ride. And this week we didn't go to the water park, but we did go on the whitewater rapids ride. And I also went on it was in Kittyland, but it's called like Snoopy's something or another, but it used to be called The Last Airbender. So if you're familiar with Kings Island, this is my pen. So this is the ride, and it has a couple of hills, and it spins, but as it spins, it goes up the hills and back, and then up and then back as it's spinning. So that was fun. My nephew, who is 2, is actually old enough, tall enough, and willing to ride a few of the kiddie rides, and he had a blast. So even though they're like a train car or a fake car going around in a circle, or an airplane that just goes up and down, he loves it. And it was adorable getting to see that. They had a petting zoo there, and I got some footage. So I know, a petting zoo at a theme park, who would have thought? I'm not sure that I agree with it, but they did have some cute animals. So I will insert the video at the end. The videos at the end. They had pigs, and they had sheep, of course, llamas, alpacas, ponies, goats, ducks. They had a lot of animals. So I have some video, and right when we went through, it was, they do close it quite early compared to the theme park, just so that the animals, I think, just so that they're not as stressed out at nighttime, and they also, you know, they need to eat, and they get to go to their own little field area. And it was adorable because we went during closing time for the petting zoo, not for the park. And it's, they were closing up, and so we got to feed and pet the animals. But then when we walked out, we got to watch them corral all the animals to their dinner spot, which is like this big open space where they get to stay for the evening, and then they come back in the morning. The chickens, the pigs, the sheep, they had donkeys, the horses, the alpacas. The ducks pretty much stayed, I think, where they were because they had a nice pond set up. So I think they stayed at the pond. But everything else willingly walked, waddled, whatever you want to call it, to this grassy area, and they were all eating together. I have never seen so many farm animals, so many different kinds of farm animals be together in one space, and I wish I would have got a picture of it. It was hilarious. So, it might be in my video. I'm not sure. So we did that. My favorite ride there is the boat, the Viking ship. So it goes up and up and up, and I love that one, and I always sit in the very back, and I scream, and I don't scream because of the ride. I scream because it embarrasses my husband.
I didn't get that.
I don't scream because of the ride. I scream because it embarrasses my husband and my niece and nephew. So it's hilarious. So we did that. We left there. We got some pizza, which we don't normally eat out. So that was a treat. And that was a lot of fun. It was hot. I got burnt. And I was exhausted. Typically, the first day that we go for the season, I'm pretty worn out for a couple days afterwards just because I'm not used to walking that much. I think I didn't have my Fitbit on me, but if I could estimate, it probably would have been between 15,000 and 20,000 steps for me that day, which is way above my normal. You're supposed to get 10,000 a day, and while I try my best to get 10,000 a day, typically I'm around 7,000 to 8,000. So for me to get between 15 and 20,000, it's a big difference. So I was pretty worn out the next 2 days, but I am recovered today. I got plenty of sleep yesterday. So that's about all I have. This is, I think, going to be one of my longest episodes again. I was just in a chatty mood, had a lot to show. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. And thank you so much for joining me. Again, go check me out on Instagram, Ravelry, and now Etsy. I will have all that information in the podcast as well as in the links. I will have the links below the video. So, oh, one thing I wanted to mention. I think I already mentioned it. I think that's it. Okay, well, thank you for joining me. Bye. Hi again. I just finished editing the podcast, and I realized I completely forgot to talk about Fort Wayne. So I wanted to make a short video to give you guys all the information in case you are going to be in the area for the Simply Sock Yarn anniversary sale. I am meeting my guild in Dayton around, I believe, 7:45, 7:30 in the morning. And we are going to group up from there, decide on the car situation, and then head over. I'm not sure if there will be any breakfast or gas stops on the way over. Lunch is at our own discretion. So we plan to be, I believe it's a 2.5 or 3 hour drive. So I believe we plan to be in Fort Wayne in the morning, and then we will break for lunch. I plan on going with a few friends over to the Acme Bar and Grill, which is down the street from the Simply Stock Yarn Company for lunch. Again, I'm not sure what time. I will have my phone on me all day, so hopefully I have enough signal to be able to get on Instagram and Ravelry in case you want to message me to meet up. Otherwise, if you happen to see me at Simply Stock Yarn, just stop me and say hi, and you're more than welcome to join us for lunch. I was planning originally on going to Knitting Off Broadway. However, I am not driving. I am riding with a friend. So it all depends on their schedule and what they plan on doing. So I will keep you posted as I know the more details. I know it's a little disorganized for our meetup, but I would love to meet up with you guys. There is one of you that purchased the bag for me that lives in Fort Wayne, and I'm going to try to contact you individually to see if you still want me to ship it or if you want to meet up for me to give it to you individually. Again, sorry about the video quality. I probably should have turned some lights on before I did this, but as you can tell, all that talking this morning made me... You heard my dog whining in the background. She doesn't like when I talk to myself. Anyway, all that talking earlier this afternoon made me a bit hoarse, so my voice is going out. So I'm not going to keep you any longer. But I am going to insert some videos now of the petting zoo and hopefully of the spinning. I still haven't looked for that video, so if I find it, it'll be in here. If not, I'll make sure to take a video this week and put it up. So thank you guys so much for your patience. I know this is a long video. So have a great day. See you next week. Bye. They're hungry.
Look at the sheep.